Hello everybody, Lucas here, and welcome to my draft analysis for IHops, which is a restaurant I don't have in my country, but it's an American restaurant apparently. But there's now a draft league named after it because of course there is. It's cool. Some people from DEC are over there that I know, so it's fairly familiar, and it's a normal format. It's not low tier or anything. Normal format, but there is a slight switch up with this. So Z moves are legal, but only on mons worth 10 points or below. So it's kind of like a balanced way of introducing Z moves, I guess, in a way. So that's kind of the idea with it, and I ended up not really taking advantage of that rule, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Yes, this is a league run by Korean Panda, who ran ADBL to mixed effect, and good old Lord Jamal Lucas, who I played who I played in Tech a couple of seasons ago. Both cool runners of it. The draft took like a week because it was very slow. Like there were like almost 48 hours between two of my picks at one point, so it was a long one. But I like the team I've drafted. It's definitely not perfect. I think it needs one or two mons different, but stuff got taken that I wanted, and it's one of those things. It's unfortunate, but let's get into what I drafted. So I have a bit of a meme going now that I just never get early. I always get late picks, which, like, if you wanted to always get a certain pick, late is far from being a bad one to always get. But the last 5 leagues I've been in before this one, I've had like 15th, 14th, 15th, 15th, 16th pick or something like that. It's been ridiculous. So I was like, I really want to just get an earlier pick so I can pick up something that's really like a really top tier stuff. Because I just don't get to use them as much, which is why I finally bit the bullet last season in Tekken and didn't make any kind of draft plan, because I was like, I'll just see what good mon drops to me and I'll just take that because I want to start using good mons, and that team ended up not working out and I had to go and change it halfway through, so it was like stuff on. But the draft order came out and I actually had 7th pick. Oh my goodness, the prophecy the prophecy erased itself, I guess. It's like, 7th is actually a worse draft pick than any of those that I mentioned before, like 14th to 16th. But when you get 14th to 16th all the time, it's not great. Like, I like being in different positions. I get to take different kinds of mons, and 7th is just going to allow me to take, different kinds of mons to before. So I very much like that. So let's get into what I drafted. So in draft league, in my history, at least my history within the I guess the mainstream scene of it since I joined LCD. There's been two kind of constants with me that have been kind of funny. I haven't drafted enough megas, and I haven't drafted enough dragon types, and like, you can do without both, to be fair, and you can make really good teams without both. But it's funny how little I actually draft megas and dragon types. Like, I've drafted one dragon type that isn't Guzzlord. I don't think I clicked a dragon move with Guzzlord all season in ADBL anyway. But I only drafted Kirim. My dragon is Kirim is the only dragon I have drafted in those like 5 or 6 seasons, and Mega Absol is the only Mega I've drafted. Mega Absol is also the only Mega I've used and saw, because I've also picked it up in free agency a couple of times. It's great. Mega Absol is great, but I said, you know what, going into the draft, I was like, I'm going to take a really good dragon, and I'm going to take a really good Mega. That was kind of the aim. So I kind of had a hierarchy of stuff that I wanted to go for. In terms of like Mega Scizor, I think is probably the best one in the format, because it's this league is cut moves are allowed except hidden power. So stuff like Pursuit is legal, but then no hidden power for it. So it makes Mega Scizor really good because it just gives it like Pursuit as an extra option. Solid, and then also Urshifu was banned here as well as Dragon Ball being banned, which is very standard. But Urshifu was also banned here, so it basically left Mega Scizor as the best mon in the format, in my opinion. So I was like, well, if that drops to me, I'm obviously going to take that because it's like the best mon, I think, but it's probably not going to fall to me. I expected it to go like first or second pick. It actually only went right before me. So I was like, okay, what's a realistic mon I'm going to be able to get? And this makes some kind of semblance of a plan around it. Because that's what I did. And the mon that I was like, you know what, this thing's going to be really good. It's worth less points here than it was in Tech. So clearly some people will view it as underrated in this tier. And I think I'm going to enjoy using it. It's got a great speed tier, it's got good bulk, it's got a great typing, and it's easy to build a team around. I picked up Garchomp in round 1 here. Now, Garchomp without Hidden Power Ice existing is really, really cool. Because essentially, what it also gives Garchomp the ability to do is very effortlessly check a large chunk of the electric types in the game. Because they can't just slap Hidden Power Ice on the set anymore to deal with Garchomp. And it just makes Garchomp such a good defensive option compared to what it was before. Like, defensive was always decent. Like, you could run like stuff like Rough Skin, Rocky Helmet and deal with physical attackers really well. But now there's actual proper like abilities for Garchomp to hard wall a good chunk of mons in the game, and that's really really valuable. I like that a lot. I like having my defensive synergy in there nicely, and this ticks off. This puts like a big check next to most electric types immediately, which is really really nice. Ground type offensively is also incredibly strong. You always want a ground type in draft, even if it's not offensive. But ground offensively is really really strong. Basically, all you're switching into is like levitating mons, flying type mons, grasses and bugs, and already Garchomp gets fire moves to hit grasses, and bugs, it gets rock moves to hit flyings, and then it probably gets something of coverage to hit most levitators. So it's really, really strong in that respect. It's got a great base speed stat at 102, which is awesome. I think that's just nice to just be able to tick off straight off the bat there. And then it's my dragon. I finally actually picked up a dragon. It has loads of different setup options. Well, I say loads. It can do sword stance. It can also do scale shot to boost its speed, which is another reason Garchomp went up in points between a couple of seasons ago. It went up from like 15 to it went up from like 16 to 17 or 16 to 18, depending on which league you're in. And it was one because hidden power was gone. And two, because of Scale Shot. And Scale Shot is such a huge thing, because Garchomp before had no way to boost its speed that wasn't like Z Sandstorm, which obviously I can't use that here, and no one else is using that in Gen 8, so I was just kind of thinking, yeah, that actually works really, really well. I like where I'm going with that, and I think it's going to be really, really easy to build a team around Garchomp defensively. Offensively, I was maybe going to struggle a little bit more, because it's like, well, you just want a flying type, right? But I knew what Mega I wanted, and it's like, I like, with my offensive calls, I like having a 2 where one's a physical and one's a special attacker. So I had like Zapdos, Galar, and Aegislash. I had Rillaboom and Heatran. More recently this season in TEC had Coco and Zapdos, Galar. So I was like, I like doing that. And then you think, well, how many high tier special fire or flying types actually are there? And there aren't really any. I would have had to go for like Heatran again, and Heatran didn't really agree with my playing style. So I was like, yeah, I don't really want to do that. I also wanted something faster. So instead of thinking, what's going to help out Garchomp, I thought, what could Garchomp help out? And then I was thinking, let's get an offensive fairy, because offensive fairies are going to get mainly stopped by steals and poisons and fires. What does ground hits all 3 of those super effectively, so Garchomp can really help out an offensive fairy. So I was thinking, okay, number 1 pick is obviously Tapu Lele. Probably won't get back to me though, so let's think of a contingency plan. Maybe Mega Gardevoir, and I'll swap out my defensive core, and I'll take like Corviknight instead of the other steel I want or something like that as the round 2 pick. And I was like, yeah, I like that idea. It's not great speed tier wise, because Mega Gardevoir and Garchomp are only 2 speed points apart. So I was like, yeah, it'll be fine. I can go for that. But no, Lele stuck around, which I can't believe. Some very odd stuff was going in this draft, to be fair. Like, you'll see something else I got later on, and I'm really confused. Like, stuff like Lantern was going round 4, and I was so confused in this one. But Lele was there, and as I was just saying, the main things that are going to stop Lele are going to be steals. And to be fair, poisons aren't really an issue, because obviously I'm a psychic type, so I can hit through those. But if an offensive poison comes in, Garchomp can actually switch into that, because ground resists poison. At least I believe it does. It should do. Maybe I'm wrong. So that's really strong there, so I can do that. And it's just going to pair nicely with Garchomp, because Garchomp's going to help it out a lot, because Garchomp's going to be eliminating steals, and that's kind of the main thing, is the steals that stop Lele. Even though it gets Mystical Fire, even though it gets Focus Blast, you want to be able to just click your Moonblast and do a load of damage, or your Psychic or Psyshock and do a load of damage. You even get stuff like Thunderbolt as well. It's really, really strong. 95 base speed is awesome. It's a brilliant Scarfer. Like, I've got 2 great Scarfers immediately there. Garchomp's a really solid Scarfer, although not as much anymore, because you can run Scale Shot and achieve the same thing. And then Lele is also a great Scarfer. So I've got 2 good scarfing options, 2 nice kind of high mid-tier speed options, and that was kind of the main downfall of um, the transactions team I made in TEC, where I didn't actually have. I had a speed gap between 80 and 100, which people just exploited. I wanted to make sure I didn't have that again, because that's a very bad speed gap to leave, because it allows base 100s to basically run no speed. Lele's going to stop that happening immediately, so I liked that, and it's just really, really strong. I've got two incredibly strong mons straight off the bat there, which is what the whole idea of this kind of draft it was. I wanted to go, okay, let's go with power, and let's do it quickly, and let's get some power on the board immediately, and then we'll fill out the defense after that. Speaking of filling out the defense, my next pick I dipped slightly early for because I didn't want to risk it not coming back to me because there was a chance it didn't. So I dipped slightly early in round 3 for Mega Aggron. I do think Mega Aggron is more so a round 4 or round 5 pick, but it's just so key to this typing synergy that I was like, just got to pick it up now, because what I knew I wanted to draft in the next couple of picks, although it actually ended up changing anyway. I didn't want to have to be left in a situation where I had to take like a Skarmory or something, because I didn't want the extra electric weakness. So Aggron actually helps me out there a lot. Mega Aggron's just awesome. It's a brilliantly reliable rocker, possibly the most reliable rocker outside of like a Ferrothorn. Which Ferrothorn didn't really suit me when I used it, which is why that wasn't really an option on the board for me. Filter is probably a top 10 ability in the game. It halves super effective damage, which is unbelievable. Mega Aggron has a ridiculous defense stat. Most offensive mons physically, even if it's like an Excadrill, lose to Mega Aggron. That's how good it is. Like, even before, where it's like you can Earthquake and stuff. Who decided to give Mega Aggron Body Press in Gen 8? Well, not Mega Aggron, but Aggron Body Press in Gen 8. So now Mega Aggron gets Body Press. I now 1v1 an Excadrill in one turn, which is just ridiculous. This one is so good. The main way that you beat it is you hit it really, really hard on the special side with like a Focus Blast or an Earth Power or a Fire Blast, stuff like that. And Garchomp's going to be switching into the Fire Blast really, really nicely. First off, and Lele's also going to switch into the a fighting move combo because its special defense is decent. And obviously nothing's switching into the ground type right now. So kind of priorities, making sure you work out this for the team is, pick up a good fighting resist, pick up a good ground resist / immunity, and pick up a good fire resist that isn't Garchomp, because Garchomp is going to always want to be taking loads of fire moves. The other thing with this is that it's nice synergy with Garchomp, because obviously the main thing you want to avoid with Garchomp is just getting ice moved. So this is a really great switch into ice moves. It's also a great switch into fairy moves, which Garchomp is also weak to, and dragon moves, which Garchomp is weak to. So that's quite nice there. So there's some nice synergy straight off the bat. I have a Discord notification. Let's have a look at what that is. It is a live link. Lovely. You love to see it. Yeah, so I really think Mega Aggron could do really, really well. It's one I've wanted to use for such a long time in draft, and I've just never had the opportunity. So I'm really glad I finally get to use it here. And I paired, and the main thing that holds Mega Aggron back from probably being like a top 10 mon in draft league realistically is recovery. Maybe not top 10, but like top 20, 25 is lack of recovery. It doesn't have recovery. You can run rest and stuff, and rest talk is a thing, but you're then giving up other moves. And the thing to mention with Mega Aggron as well actually is it gets a surprisingly good amount of coverage. I already mentioned Body Press and Earthquake, but obviously Heavy Slam will do a ton because it's really heavy. It also gets the punch moves and stuff like Avalanche, so it's got a good amount of coverage for what it is, and it can even like head smash if you want to do some memes, so that is a thing. Anyway, so I think the main thing, if you want to have a really effective Mega Aggron draft, pair it with a Wish Passer. So I paired it with a Wish Passer. Vaporeon is another mon that I've wanted to use for quite a while in draft, ever since it got Flip Turn. I was looking and I was like, this mon is literally my perfect draft league mon in every single way, because Vaporeon is essentially the ultimate team support. Slow Flip Turn for momentum to get your offensive threats in, Wish support for your offensive threats or your Mega Aggrons that don't get natural recovery, Cleric abilities with Heal Bell. It does everything, and along with that, hitting back pretty hard with Scolds with a very decent special attack stat. This thing is literally perfect for me. Like, unironically, I think this mon could be a new favourite. I've never used it before, but I really enjoy Umbreon, which is kind of a dark type version of the same kind of thing because it can use Baton Pass to get momentum. and then to kind of do wish stuff, but it hits back slightly less and it's slightly bulkier. So that's kind of a thing. And then the Mega Aggron Vaporeon pairing is actually really nice as well because Aggron's very physically defensive, Vaporeon's very specially defensive. That wasn't really intentional with that pairing, but it's actually something that's worked out really, really nicely. In that sense, I've got a lot of good, I've got a nice range of things right now because I've got a really strong physical attacker, a really strong special attacker, a really solid physically defensive mon, and now a really solid specially defensive mon. So pairs really, really nicely. Type-wise, it pairs really nicely as well. If you look at the grass weakness Vaporeon has resisted by Mega Aggron, and by Garchomp is neutral to it, never mind. And then its electric weakness, that Garchomp is immune to electric, so that was nice there. And then in terms of other stuff, it's another ice resist for Garchomp, which is really, really cool, and it's a fire resist for Mega Aggron as well. So getting into round 5, and I got sniped. I really wanted Moltres, which is why I didn't want to go with like Skarmory, because I didn't want the extra. I didn't want 3 electric weaknesses like that. I think Moltres and Vaporeon would have paired really nicely. Moltres, it's another grass resist. It does all of that. It's got a good speed tier. It's another U-turn. It's got momentum. It's got natural recovery and roost. It hits back pretty hard with its fire and flying moves and gets all sorts of weird coverage as well. It's a good mod, and with heavy duty boots, it's very, very usable. But it got taken, and it provides defog as well. But it got taken, and I was like, well, that's great. I'm going to have to reassess my options, and it wasn't necessarily that I 100% needed bulky fire. This team, although obviously it would be nice, another fire resist for Aggron, etc. Stuff like that. Though I do have a couple, so it's not too bad. But I got a phone call. I didn't even know what I was saying, but I was more so thinking, okay, I need to reassess where I'm getting my hazard removal from, because obviously I don't have any hazard removal yet on this team. I was like, quick, we need to reassess that and go, okay, I need to get hazard removal on this team. Where is it going? How am I getting it? I actually found a mon later on that does a lot of the same things other than does all the same things other than having natural recovery and being a fire resist to do those things, weirdly, even though it's like nothing alike. But I instead, in round 5, went for what was originally going to be a round 6 pick, and that was a Alolan Muck. Now, with cut moves being legal, apart from Hidden Power, this thing has access to Pursuit. And if you look at my team up until this point, what kind of mon goes really, really in against me? I don't know, something like a Gengar or a Spectria, where it's just a strong ghost type, which is going to hit through Lele. So I said Gengar specifically because it can Focus Blast Aggron and stuff. So it's like, with Lele on the team, you're immediately going to think, okay, how am I going to do with Lele? Get a fast ghost type on the team, revenge kill it. I want something that's going to really punish those ghost types, which I thought is really, really good. Here, at this point in the draft, you also just do not want to challenge me with any kind of psychic type. Lele resists, Aggron resists, and Muck is immune, and then you get Pursuit trapped. So that's really, really good. And Alolan Muck is great. Gluttony got nerfed. Gluttony didn't get nerfed, the berries got nerfed. So it's not, that set isn't quite as good, but it's still good. You can still recycle Iapapa berries. I think it was Iapapis. I need to work that out properly. Is this another vocal song? Are we kidding? No, it's not. We're fine. That's something just to keep in mind, whereas just have to make sure I don't mess that up pretty much. Just need to be careful with that. Is that the shiny one I put there, or is it Tongue Always Blue? His Tongue might always be blue. But just having a knockoff user is really, really important as well. And I think I found the value in that this season when I moved Mega Absol onto my TEC team. It made such a world of difference just because it was a knockoff user. And that's so useful in so many matchups. And having a really strong knockoff user here in Muck is really, really strong. Because it's got really good bulk. It's a great AV user. It can do physical defensive stuff as well. But it also has a really great attack stat. And it can hit pretty hard with poison moves or dark moves, Because you think, okay, that's another thing that's going to threaten fairies, which, like Aggron's going to threaten fairies anyway, but it's another thing that's going to threaten fairies for me, which, Garchomp and Lele both don't hit them effectively, so something like a Clefable, I'd maybe be struggling to break down at this with the 4 originally, whereas Muck gives me something a bit different to go against it there, so that was kind of what I was thinking there. And just having that really, really strong Ghost Resist was important there, 100%. 100%. So then the mon which ended up replacing Moltres somehow was Galarian Weezing, which, for a mon that I don't love, I like it. I think it's really good. I think it does what it does well, but it's not really my cup of tea as a mon to use as a defensive piece. If you look at my team with the Vaporeon, there's so much reliance on Wish Passing right now for stuff that doesn't get natural recovery. Weezing at least does get Pain Splits or something, but somehow this fills the same kind of role as Moltres, somehow, where it's a fighting resist. It's actually a better fighting resist. It's a defogger, probably not a better defogger. It doesn't get momentum, and it doesn't get natural recovery, so I lose out on that. It's also not a fire resist, so I lose out on that. But it actually gives me a a fairy resist for Garchomp as well here, which is actually pretty good. So I give myself something else there. As I said, the psychic weakness isn't a concern to me right now because Mach is immune and Lele resists, Aggron resists, and that's really, really strong there. So there's that, and actually not adding the extra electric weakness actually I think helps the team overall. I'm not going to lie, and it also provides the same grass weakness and the same ground immunity because of levitate. So I think the only slight thing with Glaring Weezing on this team is that it basically gets forced into running levitate most weeks. I don't think I'll ever be able to use neutralizing gas here because with Galarian Weezing not being ground immune, my team ends up quite ground weak. So that's something to keep in mind between Aggron and Mach already. That's a slight issue to look at, which is why it was really imperative that I got my next pick very, very quickly because there was a lot of low tiers going at this stage. I was like, let's not risk anything. Bloody sound, music. Oh no, it's not. I'm just insane. That's Gorgeist. And speaking of mons that I draft a lot, I absolutely love this thing, and it's for a really good reason I drafted a lot. I think 6 points is an absolute steal for this because you don't just get one bulky grass type that's also a ghost type in this. You also get the 99 base speed Gorgeist Small that can hit pretty hard with Poltergeist and like Seed Bomb and stuff. Like I've used that Gorgeist a couple of times. It is really, really good. I think I've drafted this thing on 4 different occasions now, and it's been good every time. Like you can never go wrong with Gorgeist, and there will be times where teams just can't break you at all. Especially in low tier where I used it, it was insane there. It's just really, really good, and what it provides to the team is really, really great. If you look through my team as it was before Gorgeist came on the team, Zygarde 50% absolutely destroys my soul. So I was like, quick, also even like, okay, I'm gonna go against Conkeldurr. I really want to use neutralizing gas Weezing so I don't have to deal with Guts. Or I guess Machamp's the more... No, because Machamp gets Earthquake as well, I don't know. I want to bring my Gorgeist as a ground resist instead. Having that actual ground resist rather than just the immunity is really nice there, because if I just get a load of ground immunities that are also actually weak to ground, someone's going to try and bring gravity against me and stuff. So let's not even try and mess with that. Let's actually pick up that really solid ground resist. And this is also another great fighting response, which pairs nicely with Aggron. For me, which is really nice, it's a really solid fighting response. And originally when I actually wanted... Moltres on the team, this was more important because Moltres is only a singular resist to fighting, whereas Weezing Galar is actually a quad resist, which is quite helpful to me there. It does add another fire weakness to the team, which is slightly unfortunate. I kind of wish I had that extra fire resist, which Moltres provided, but there's not much I can do about that at the end of the day. There aren't other bulky fire options, like Rotom Heat went after Moltres somehow, but it still went before my next turn. I was going to take that instead. It would have worked out better, but it is what it is, and I really hope Gorgeist can do really, really well. There's actually a lot of pressure on it. It kind of completes the defensive core here. I'll probably, for a 6.1, you're thinking, maybe 1 or 2 brings. I'll probably bring it 3 or 4 times this season because it fills an important role synergistically on the team. Going into then round 8, you'll notice I have 2 offensive mons at the moment, and that is it. Let's pick up some offense. Let's pick up some speed as well, because my fastest mon is Garchomp at 102. And I picked up Salazzle, which, yes, I do have 3 poison types. Thankfully, they don't share the same weaknesses. Mach and Salazzle obviously share ground, and then Salazzle and Weezing obviously share psychic, but not all 3 of them. It's a nice distinction where Mach is actually then immune to psychic, which the other 2 are weak to, and Weezing with levitate is actually immune to ground, which the other 2 are weak to. So that's nice in that sense. Last time I used Salazzle, it still had hidden power, so I'm not sure how good it's going to be in comparison to that. I think I brought HP Ice on it a couple of times. I think I even brought like HP Electric 1 week. Did I? No, I don't think I did. But no, I brought HP Grass 1 week. That's what it was. And Salazzle is just fast at 117 base speed. That's really, really nice. It's fast. It hits pretty hard. You can do sub-toxic stuff and toxic everything, which is kind of cool. And it provides an offensive poison to really threaten fairies. Because I was saying, something like a Clefable can really sit against my team, even still, and just kind of struggle to be killed. So like, I don't want to mess around with that. It's also providing me with an absolute grass-type murderer, which is going to help out Garchomp and Lele as well. Garchomp more so than Lele. Lele can probably two-shot most grass types. If it's like something like an Amoonguss, though, if I have to make that prediction, so having something like Salazzle on the team instead is really, really nice because I can just click a fire move into it instead and I don't have to play that prediction game. So I think Salazzle's going to be really good there, just mainly in providing the speed because it's really important to get that speed. And this is a weird team for me because usually I kind of hyper-focus on speed tiers and I try and get something above 120, something in 110 to 120, something in 100 to 110, and then something in 90 to 100, although the 90 to 100 went on the wayside last season. I haven't done that here, and actually I will kind of spoil the rest of the team where Salazzle and Garchomp are actually the two fastest mons on my team, period. Which is strange, but actually they do fulfill speed tiers perfectly. Max speed modest Salazzle, speed ties max speed timid Garchomp. So even though I force the speed tie, people are still going to go, oh, I'll just run speed boosting instead, so I don't have to worry about the speed tie. That is just about enough in that situation. And then Salazzle at 117 forces speed natures on 130s, which is what you want to do in draft. Realistically, you don't have to force a speed nature on a Mega Aerodactyl because even Coco can't do that. Like some stuff is just fast for a reason, and it just does its thing. I think Salazzle 117 provides me all the speed I need in that sense, where I'm instead focused on a really solid defensive core in this one with strong hitters and ones that I've got so many good Scarfers, because even Salazzle is a good Scarfer as well, and my next one is an even better Scarfer. So you remember earlier when I was talking about how some weird stuff was going in this draft and then some weird stuff was left on the board? Well, how did I get round 9 Galarian Zapdos? And yeah, I know I've taken this thing again. I literally just had it in TEC. I will probably play 2 different games of Zapdos Galar in 1 week because at some point. So that's kind of funny. But I like this one a lot. I've been successful with it. It's actually my all-time kill leader in draft now by 1 kill. It's got 21 kills. That's over. I don't even know in how many games it is. I brought it 7 times this season. So in 16 games, he's got 21 kills for me, which is really, really solid. Any mon that's gone positive in kills to games is good for you, pretty much. And this is another great Scarfer. It's also a great band user. The combination of fighting and flying is so difficult for stuff to switch into. If you run a banded set, you will two-shot most of the metagame if you click the right move. That's how good this thing is. Add to that momentum in U-turn, and then whatever 4th move you want to run, because you never click it. Like you literally just go. I literally ran Taunt 1 week on a Scarf set because I was like, I'm never going to click a different attacking move. I may actually click Taunt. So, if this thing got Roost, it would be insane, but it doesn't. But sub bulk up sets are a thing as well. You can do really cool stuff with this. And even though it's another one right in that middle speed tier I have with Garchomp and Lele, I have so many good Scarfers in that range that people can't completely underspeed stuff because they're going to go, well, I need to worry about this Scarfer. So it's like, I don't struggle to kill fast stuff because I have 7 different options to choose for a Scarfer every single week. So that's kind of the main thing maybe people say when they see a team with these kind of speeds on it. Is that oh, it's going to struggle to revenge kill fast stuff. I have enough really good Scarfers for that to not be an issue. It's the one imperfection with this team, I would say, along with only having the 1 fire resist, 1 bulky fire resist in Vaporeon, although Garchomp kind of counts. I think that's the other one weakness of it, but it's very close to being very, very good. And then the other thing at this stage I noticed is the weakness of the team is that I've only got 1 hazard remover. That was definitely something I wanted to correct, so I picked up Rotom Fan, and this was always planned to be on the team. Zapdos Galar was obviously not originally planned to be on the team. I originally planned to actually have 12 mons, and Zapdos Galar was going to be 2 different mons that kind of filled the same role, because it threatens grasses for me, it threatens not for me, but for Garchomp, it threatens steals for Lele. It's a really good combination in that sense, where it actually helps out both of them really, really well, and the 3 of them form a brilliant trifecta of offensive ones. Anyway, so I actually technically didn't need the other ground immunity here anymore, because I have a Galarian Zapdos, which is actually a ground immunity, but having a bulky ground immunity is nice as well. I also think Electric is such an underrated defensive typing. I never see it talked about enough, but being a really solid steel resist for Lele, being a really solid flying resist for the team to go along with Mega Aggron, all of those things are so valuable. I don't know why people don't talk about Electric as a great defensive typing more. I kind of can see it's because the Rotoms are the only bulky electric types, pretty much. I wish I guess Electros counts as well, but I wish there were more bulky electrics, because I think then people would really see how good a defensive typing electric is. This thing can also Volt Switch. It has actually, ironically, despite probably being the worst of the Rotom forms, because Frost has good usage on Hail teams. And ironically, actually has the best of the coverage moves out of the 5 of them, because if you think Overheat and Leaf Storm both drop special attack, Hydro Pump is very inaccurate, Blizzard is very inaccurate, Air Slash is actually a really good move, so that's a really solid option for me there. This is another great Scarfer, and it also sits the 86 speed tier, where I had a little bit of a gap between, I think it's, oh, who's the 70? It's, Weezing, I think. Weezing is the 70. I don't remember. Something's a 70, up to the 86, and then up to 95 with Lele. I thought that was really, really nice. And I'm very comfortable with using this now after ADBL, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to take this. It works really well on this team. I like it. And very importantly, it's a second defog, which is awesome. If there's a matchup where Weezing really isn't good, but Hazards are good, I can work out how to get Foot Rate and Fan on that team nicely. The one thing that ADBL has given me a lot of is an appreciation for how good low tiers can be in the right situations, and I think it's going to make me more. It's not necessarily going to make me use the low tiers more, but it's going to make me trust them a bit more in kind of big scenarios, I guess. I don't know if that makes much sense. I am getting so many Discord notifications. What is going on? And then I didn't get a sprite for Frogadier. Oh dear. Let's sort that out right now. Let's get that. Max Gen 6. Oopsie. And yes, I have committed the cardinal sin this season of using the more up-to-date sprites. It's because I actually have so many mons actually from the new generations. Like, you did through this team. Lele, Mega Aggron, Alolan Muk, Galarian Weezing, Gourgeist, Salazzle, Zapdos Galar, and Frogadier, all Gen 5 on, all like Gen 6 onwards. So using the Gen 5 sprites for like 3 mons didn't make much sense. I thought, may as well make them all look similar. But I had 3 points left over after Rotom Fan, and there was nothing else I really needed for the team, other than, something that wasn't going to just not run Z moves, because Gourgeist, I mean, you can, but why would you? And Rotom Fan, I think, is better offensively as like a Scarfer. Frogadier, it does stuff. It's actually pretty good. I get access to Protein, which is kind of the main draw of this. So, one thing I did lose in going for Zapdos is that I didn't have like an offensive ice. I originally wanted Frostlass as an offensive ice on the team, and then I was going to take like Passimian or Sork, depending on what was left, as like the fighting part of that. So then the one thing I maybe lack is, something to really threaten like bulky grounds, like Air Powdon or something. Well, now Frogadier fills that role instead. It's essentially an offensive type of whatever you want it to be. It can be an offensive water, it can be an offensive ice, it can be an offensive grass, it can be an offensive poison because of Gunk Shot, and I can run Z moves on this, it is my Z user, I allocated it as my Z user. I can run a Z move on this to give like 100% accurate Gunk Shot. I can give 100% accurate, I think it even gets like Focus Blast, for example, stuff like that, or 100% accurate but really boosted Hydro Pump and do a load of damage. I think this thing should not be slept on with Z moves. I think it could actually do really, really well in certain matchups. So I didn't make a one of those silly team overview pages at the end because it was kind of funny last time after I changed the whole team when I made them. But here we are. I'll go back to the first page instead. Here we are. So that was my team for the league this season. Hopefully I can do really, really well with it. I think I like it a lot. Although I say that about every team I draft and then end up finding loads of weaknesses with it, so the same thing may happen. But the stuff is there is stuff on the board, because I haven't looked. There's stuff on the board and I'm like, yeah, I can make those changes there, and I think I can make the team good there. But I think this team could do really, really well for me. The schedule isn't yet released, so I don't know who I'm playing week 1. Like, Grace Period hasn't actually ended yet when I'm recording this, so I don't know who I'm playing week 1. So there will be 8 weeks of the season, hopefully some good matches, maybe some collabs going out there at some point. So yeah, I'll see you guys for the league. Thank you so much for watching.